Hey everybody, I've had some complaints about me being a bit out of focus. Let me know if this is better or worse. So anyway, hope everybody's doing well. Yeah, cameras are complex, just like sound. Happy Thursday. Market cap $2.64 trillion, 75 billion volume, Bitcoin around 71K. We're going to dig into that because a ton of money has come into these puppies for the last 17 days. And the price does not reflect that. So I'll do a bit of a statistical analysis later. And I'll show you why a Giga send is coming, not just from TA, but also on-chain and statistics. We like confluence across multiple assets. We'll talk about a big acquisition of Bitstamp, one of the old centralized exchanges going way back to the early days. We'll talk about global liquidity. I promised you all 100 trillion in 2024, and we're getting there. We'll talk about centralized exchange drainage, UTXOs, Ichimoku cloud signals, 10-year treasuries, the black hole, what else? Manipulation game, new price target, and artificial intelligence and Bitcoin mining synergy. So, hope everything's good. Mike, see you out there. And thank you to the mods in the chat too. And thank you, Mr. Zoo. So let's go. Disclaimer, not financial advice. And shout out to everybody on Patreon too, from Splinter 101 from Australia. Patreon member as of this year, but long-time watcher. Thank you so much for being part of the team. Make all this possible every day. So the Bitcoin monthly returns, we are up so far 6.5% approximately. That's an auto-calculated sheet. So sometimes that shot was taken a little bit ago, and I think Bitcoin has fallen a couple of $100 since then, but it's still at 71,000. We'll get into the manipulation as well in a minute. Let's talk about news. Not too much news, but again, a ton of charts. First of all, from Bitcoin Monger, the world has never seen ETF flows like this before. When Bitcoin is trading at deep six figures, it will look very obvious in hindsight. TikTok. Thank you, Bitcoin Monger. That's why I've been analyzing these ETFs for 101 days, because that's the primary source of money. Follow the money. It tells you where things are going. It'll also help you identify manipulation. Also, this is huge news. Robinhood has agreed to acquire the leading Bitcoin and crypto exchange Bitstamp for $200 million in cash, marking a major expansion of its Bitcoin and crypto business. Again, crypto is out of the toothpaste tube and you can't put it back in. This deal will not close for another while, though, until 2025. And Robinhood have been making a lot of crypto advances in Euroland. So shout out to everybody in Europe out there, too. And let's jump a little bit further. I am not political, but I share the news. So I don't care which side of the fence you're on. But what I do care about is freedom and freedom of choice. And I care about crypto. That's why I'm here doing this. So I'm just going to share the news. So please, people, don't get offended. But breaking news, there's a new law that grants the US president power to block digital asset access. Yeah, that sounds a bit scary, doesn't it? Well, what basically this will do, if they push this forward, they could prohibit any transaction between any person subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and any digital asset transaction that could be anywhere on the planet. It's so broad, it could really stomp things out. And there's a whole bunch of stuff there. Hey, B-Man, thank you for coming. Whole bunch of stuff behind this, and it's pretty scary. So what's going on? Another crypto news rag came out with this. This is the Biden administration and why Joe Biden hates Bitcoin. The Biden administration has published a report not only attacking Bitcoin, proof of work mining, promoting central bank digital currencies, knocking down, vetoing the SAB 121 law we covered last week and the week before. But now Biden apparently wants to embrace the central bank digital currency. Again, this is from Bitcoin Magazine, not from me, everybody. Don't shoot the messenger. But this CBDC would allow the federal government to have complete control over their citizens' finances, and further shows his true colors and reasoning for not supporting Bitcoin. By the way, I'll talk later today about the collision course that Bitcoin mining is on with artificial intelligence. Super interesting video coming up. But this is, we've got 50 million people in the US that care about crypto, that vote, okay? Anybody who is half informed knows a central bank digital currency is not a good thing. This is why we Bitcoin, because we want to be on that little tiny life raft so we have a chance of making it in the future. Dude Travels, thank you so much for coming. Now, and this all happened today. You can't make this up. Standard Chartered Bank come out and they said, and this is from Watcher Guru, Standard Chartered Bank says Bitcoin will reach $150,000 if Donald Trump wins the presidential election. So again, the reason we care about this is, according to Bitcoin Magazine, this guy is bad for Bitcoin, good if you like central bank digital currencies and full control, handing over all of your control, all of your wallet to the government. And the other fellow is on the other side, and Standard Chartered Bank thinks it could be good for Bitcoin price. We care about Bitcoin price. Anyway, into the charts. I hope none of that offended everybody. You're going to be treading so carefully here on the interwebs. Let's talk about this. Global liquidity hits $94 trillion. And we know Bitcoin and crypto markets are hugely sensitive to global liquidity. Okay, it floats all boats. All right. And this is very, very big news for us. And why do we care? Well, I've been saying one of my projections for 2024, but this was that global liquidity would hit 100 trillion. We're now at 94. And the most important chart for this bull run has just made a new all-time high. That's from Swift. He wrote in part of a commentary on X regarding this. Bitcoin price at 71,000. Global liquidity, 94 trillion. Again, a fraction, 1.5% of that liquidity could buy the entire crypto market cap. That's how small Bitcoin market cap. That's how small Bitcoin is. And just a quick reminder as well from the Rational Root, we are only 3% into this halving cycle. 3%, everybody. People think it's over, but we've just begun. Okay, so I'm going to hammer that home as well because, Anyway, and Bitcoin Monger is back again. He shows us how price is up this week, yes, but coins are leaving the exchanges once again at an accelerated rate. Probably nothing Bitcoin. So, we've been talking about supply crunch for years and years. The question is, when will it happen? Will it happen in 2030 or this year? We don't know, but there's crazy things happening. The exchanges are being drained. The ETFs are buying hand over fist. And the miners, as I shared yesterday, hit an all-time low, 14-year low of their HODL position. Okay? There will come a time. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mikkel. There will come a time when it'll be very hard to source Bitcoin. Unless, of course, you're selling your bags. Now, this is from Dylan and Claire. He shared a UTXO chart. And this is the concentration of realized prices across Bitcoin. And what's interesting about this, you can see gray is the current price we're at, and the amount of transaction of history of Bitcoin has been conducted at this price, and it's very little. Now, by examining where the majority of UTXOs are realized, one can infer a potential support and resistance levels in the market. The higher concentration areas support and suggest strong buying interest and historical support levels, and the current market position, the gray bar, shows the closing price, allowing a comparison to see the current prices are near historically high transaction volumes, which can indicate strong price levels. Again, the gray bar is slightly above where all the action happened, and where all the action happened recently is the support level. So don't fret, we are hovering around this 70K land here. Haven't quite broke 71K. Haven't broken new all-time high yet, but I will share a chart in a second that will stun you. Now, the title of this video is called Full Send, and the inspiration for that title comes from Titan of Crypto. Basically, Titan of Crypto says $110,000 Bitcoin is inevitable. There is a gigantic bull flag showing you here on the chart, playing out at the moment. And this is the Ichimoku cloud. And for those of you who know, the red is the Tenkan, and that's pointing up. The lagging span orange is completely free. And that means if the Ichimoku cloud holds true, which it normally does, especially on this time frame, it's time for a Giga Bitcoin send. Now, I like to try and support this cloud with actual statistical data. So here I have my usual 101 days of ETF flows. Okay, this is my T+1 model. And the blue is the actual flow, and the red is the price delta. Now, normally they follow each other very closely, but over the last 5-10 days, it's been quite different. I'm going to break that down when we get back into the ETF flows because it's too important. And what I did was I mapped the correlation over the first 90 days and then over the total 101 days. I'll show you something that's completely broken, which proves that the markets are being manipulated. Hold on for that in a second. In addition, we had the largest 5-day decline in 10-year treasuries in over a year from the Bitcoin Layer magazine. This is important because guess what? The bond market is sniffing out a rate cut. And this is from Bitcoin Archive. Canada cut rates by 25 basis points. The European Union cut rates by 25 basis points. Your turn, Jerome Powell. Send it. Obviously, these are small rate cuts, but they have a huge impact. And again, bond market sniffs out what's going to happen next. And the economy is really bad. The macro is horrible. But anyway, in other news too, this is from Nik B. This shows you how yields are setting up for a plunge if 4.25% does not hold. And again, bond market always sniffs out the truth. But the point is, Nick was trying to remind us here that U.S. Treasuries catch a bid during growth slowdowns, right? We are going through one of those right now. And despite concerns about higher yields and foreign interest, lower yields enhance liquidity conditions because they increase collateral values, allowing banks to leverage more money in creation. They reduce bond market volatility, which leads to lower haircuts in repo and more for banks to leverage treasuries. And this boosts liquidity, which is good for Bitcoin. Everything is tied together with all these different threads. So we're going to watch this very carefully. Either way, bond market sniffs out a cut despite the jawboning from the Fed. Now, Bitcoin only players will be here after this. Let's break down the black hole because I will spend a bit of time on this today because it is so important to understand the money flow and the correlation to price. First of all, day 101 raw numbers. We pulled in $3.7 billion in 17 days. That is big. 17 days. This is a joint record. We've done 17 days before. That was day 41 through day 56 or 57, if my mind serves me right. Only once before has it happened. We've never gone 18 days positive. The question is, what's happening now? And again, so much money has come in, but the price has not moved the way you expect it. So what's going on here? Let's look at what I did. This looks like a messy, scribbly chart, but I had to do it fast. First of all, if you take the first, 90-something days, we had 85% correlation between the money flow into Bitcoin and the T+1 price delta, i.e. you got a big blue spike, typically price would go up with the exception of day 56, 58, etc. Now, when we fast forward, if you look at the green brackets, it's a very crude way of me trying to explain how this works. But again, if you look at the green bracket section, 85% of the Bitcoin price can be explained by the ETF flows. 85%, that is stunning correlation. However, if you analyze the 101 days, okay, Super Soul Man, thank you for coming, as well as Anglo Blackson. You were here yesterday too, thank you. So if you look at the red brackets, that covers the whole 101 days. We now only have a 61% correlation. So the correlation has gone from 85% down to 61% because something funky is happening over the last 10 days. Huge money inflows, price is flat. Okay? Now, I've got a couple of theories about this. The ETFs want to fill their bags, but they're sourcing their Bitcoin from somewhere else because Grayscale is not dumping. Okay, so where are they getting their bags? Obviously, the miners are almost out. The good miners are trying to hodl as much as they can. The centralized exchanges are draining fast. Maybe some is coming from there. I'm not sure. Also, the OTC desks were plumped up during the dip in late April, early May. Maybe they're pulling it all from the OTC desks with a sidebar agreement between the market makers. That's the only way I can explain the crazy amount of money flowing in, 3% into this epoch, and the price not going up as much as it would, and the correlation tanking. 85% for the first 90 days, 61% for the first 101 days. Something is off here. That's why I believe a Giga send is on the cards, because this thing's going to dry up. And then to get a Bitcoin to stick it in your bag, you're going to have to pay a lot of money, unless, of course, everybody starts to sell. This is the macro update, everybody. Real quick, you can see here again, not as big a day as the day before yesterday, but not bad as well. If you look, we now have 17 positive days in a row. When you compare the two record days, we nearly match them. So their two biggest days in a row were about 1.8, 1.9 billion. Now our two most recent biggest days were 1.6, no, 1.5, if I'm not mistaken. And we do have that 17 days of positive inflows, which you've never had before. If we have a positive day tomorrow, that will be a new record. And that will be very exciting. Remember, Grayscale has left the building, not draining as much. This is the $1.4 billion, not 1.5, $1.4 billion in just 2 days, which is big. Previous record is about 1.7. Will we break that again? Who knows? But either way, these flows are extremely strong considering where we are. Now, yesterday, 6,863 Bitcoin were pulled from the system, and we are issuing 450 a day. The day before yesterday, 28 days of miner issuance, poof, gone. Yesterday, 14, 15 days of issuance, poof, gone. You combine those 2 days alone, you're nearly at 1.5 months of miner issuance gone. 2 days from these 8-7 ETFs that actually bought over the last 2 days. It's crazy. Will this continue? I don't know. According to Jenny from Franklin Templeton, I nearly forgot that, she believes we're just getting started. Just getting started. The first quarter, the funds were tiptoeing into Bitcoin. Now they're coming whole hog. And this is reflected here in this number. Grayscale, $15 million positive day. Great. That purple trend line is nearly at zero, which is good. The bleed has really stopped. I think if they were able to cut down their fees, they'd be doing much better. And as Bruce says, it's time for that perhaps Giga send. We're not sure, but a few things point to it. In a few hours, I'll be doing a quick minority report, which is for Bitcoin miners, and a super interesting discovery about how there is a new game in town, and it's AI and data centers and the impact on Bitcoin miners. So it'll be interesting. See what we come up with, and has my calculus changed around Bitcoin miners? We shall see. Thank you all for coming. Thank you to everybody here in the chat. Thank you to Sean Donnelly and T&D Tesla and K8 and Super Soul Man and the whole team. I'll see you all in a few hours. Bye-bye.